Let's review the foam system on the Pearson Forcer. We've got a Husky 3 foam system and a Hercules compressor system. So when we go to turn those on, similar to the Contender, we're going to double check a couple things. First, we got to make sure the engine RPM is below 1,000, and that's why we're doing that at the beginning as we're setting up the pump. We're also going to check that our air pressure on the CAFS panel is below 20. Once we've got all those things in place, let's check each individual CAFS discharge and make sure that they're off. Back to the CAFS panel, we'll make sure that this first selector switch is at auto, and then go ahead and engage the CAFS compressor. You hear the compressor kick on immediately, and you'll see the air pressure come up. You'll also notice on the master discharge gauge that there is a separate red needle that will come up and follow the air pressure in the CAFS. Now that we've got the compressor running, let's go ahead and turn the foam itself on, and that's on the Husky 3 foam panel. Just do that by pressing on, and you'll see one green light come on to indicate that it's on. If we need to change the foam percentage at all, we can use the up and down arrow keys to do that. Now that we're running foam, we can select the discharge that we want, open the water first to charge the line. Once we get water in the system, we can add the air. So we've already got that water foam mixture. We'll go ahead and select the individual discharge, and now we've got air in the system. Now that we're running CAFS, we can just double check that the rest of our discharges are at our correct pressure. To fill Class A foam on a Pearson Forcer, first you're going to connect the fill tube to the lower right side of the pump panel. It's near a red handled valve. And then we can switch that red handled valve to the up position, which is draft. To the right of that draft handle, you'll see another compartment. We'll open that up, and there's a yellow handled valve that we're going to move towards the center of the engine, so it should be facing towards the center. Now we can stick the foam fill tube into the 55-gallon drum and head over to the foam panel. Once we're at the foam panel, with the batteries on, we'll see that the LCD screen is lit up, and we can scroll through the percentages until we get to fill. It's easiest in this case to scroll down. Once it says fill, we can hit the system on/off for it to start filling the tank. Once the tank's filled, we can turn the system off by pressing the system on/off button again. And then we're just going to reverse our steps. So back to the compartment to the right, we'll turn the yellow handle towards the front of the engine. Move the red handle to the down position to the tank position and disconnect the fill tube. Once it's disconnected, we'll try and drain all the excess foam back into the 55-gallon drum. We can put the tube away and we're ready to hit the road. To use the deck gun on the Pearson Forcer, you'll have to raise it up, and it's just like the deck gun on the Darley, so it's an extended gun. To raise the deck gun, you'll first release the pins at the base and then lift the deck gun up. Once up, it should lock in place. Make sure those locks are engaged before you operate it. Use the hand wheel to raise and lower, and if you're gonna go lower, you'll have to pull the pin in the front, similar to all of our other ground monitors and deck guns. To lower it down, you release the pins at the base and lower it down. When it's in the lower position, make sure that they're locked as well. To raise the cab on the Pearson Forcer, first you'll need to make sure that the battery and the ignition is on, and then come over to the officer side on the pump panel. And you'll find the white plate with a red switch cover. First you're going to open that up and switch that to raise, and then hold down the activate button to raise the cab. Anytime we're raising the cab, we want to make sure that all the interior equipment is secured, air packs, map books. Once we're sure all that's secured, just double check your overhead, make sure you have the clearance to raise it. Once you have the cab raised, head over to the driver's side and we'll secure the bar in place. Once the safety bar is in place, we can work underneath the cab. When we're ready to lower the cab, we'll just replace the safety bar and walk over to the officer's side pump panel. We'll switch to the lower position and then press the activate switch and hold that down to lower the cab. Once the cab's lowered all the way, we're going to hold that activate switch for 5 more seconds to ensure that the cab is locked down. To run the light tower on the Pierce Enforcer, we'll grab the controller out of the driver's side compartment. And first we have to get power to the controller. So on the top left is a start button. Press and hold that for a second, and you'll see it power up. Once there's power to the night scan, you can double press the mast up button to get it to raise automatically, or press and hold the mast up. Once it goes to the vertical position, you'll have to hold the mast up button for it to go higher than that. If the lights aren't on, you can press the light button, which is in the lower left, to get them to turn on. And at any point you can tilt down or pan left and right. From those positions, you can always double tap the mast down button and it will auto stow. If for some reason you don't have clearance overhead and you think you're going to hit wires or some other object, you can press the emergency stop button, which will stop power to the light tower. To reset that, you twist it clockwise and it'll reset.